Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday. Of course they're going to start. They've been quiet all morning. I apologize. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday. What you guys' plans today as I cover them? You guys. Not okay. Alright. Hopefully that's good. Alright. So wait for a few more people to come in. But welcome to another episode of Mental Health Safe Place Live. Hi, Aunt Kelly. How you doing? Oops. I forgot my coffee. So I have nothing to drink. So it's not going to be a long one today, hopefully. Got some stuff we have to do this afternoon. Tommy's out fishing. And hi, Craig. Who else do you need? I am here. Well, welcome. Oh, my phone is going crazy. Of course it's going to go crazy. So I did a little something different today. I put some makeup on. I was playing with my eye makeup. So, yes. Hello, Willow. Hello. Yes, coffee. I haven't had as much as I did yesterday, but I still need, really? Oh, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those days, I think. It's really going to be one of those days. So I'm going to drop the link in for anybody who'd like to join. Today, I was going to do a topic that's very much a touchy subject. And so I'm not, like, I had it all planned and stuff like that, but it's a trigger for me. And so I don't know even how to go about it. And it's about domestic abuse. I was going to share with you guys some things that I went through. But then, of course, my anxiety and my PTSD got the best of me, and I don't know how to even start it. So I know there's a lot of resellers and other, people who aren't resellers in my chat. But I do want to make this comment. Hello, Storage. Welcome. If you have items that you're just going to donate to the Goodwill or throw away, but they're still pretty good, but you just don't need them, and this goes to everybody, please try to find a domestic abuse center in your area or close to you and donate those items to them. Toys. I was talking with my friend Mel yesterday about this, and she thought it was a really good idea. So I kind of want to put it out there. If you have items that you don't need anymore, clothes that are in good shape, toys, please donate them to a domestic abuse center. These women, I know from experience, these women, when they leave, they don't take much with them. And it means the world to them when they're able to get something. They don't care if it's name brand. They don't care, if it's a little big or not. Just having something that, somebody was willing to donate to them is a very good thing. Kids in these situations, when they leave, they don't get to take all their toys. They don't get to take pretty much anything. And so, donating that stuff to these type of places, it's very much needed. And Willow says, yep, toys, clothes, crafts, puzzles, personal care products, all of that, that makes a difference. It really does. So my Aunt Kelly says, start from the beginning. So I will talk a little bit about what happened with me. I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but maybe it'll help a little bit, and maybe it'll reach somebody who may have gone through the same thing. I might bounce around a little bit of some of the experiences I had. I'm shaking. But it's things that I went through. And you guys are kind of like my therapy. You guys help me. You don't judge, and I am so grateful for that. My ex-husband, David, had me believe that he was an awesome person. I was young. I was 17 and didn't know any better. I was very naive. I was sheltered. My parents are great parents. They are. But my mom and dad, I didn't do much. You know, they didn't. Hello, Mabel. Bunny Mavis stuff. Welcome, welcome. They didn't, and I don't think it's their fault. I just I didn't do a lot of things growing up. I was home, and when I was 12, my mom got a job, and oh no, she's looking for the window. Gabby those are her babies. The birds are her babies, and she's very protective of them. But she was trying not to disturb them while she was walking over to the window. But anyway, at 12 years old, my mom got a job, and my mom had done everything for me and my brothers up until that point. But she got a job, so I kind of was thrown into helping take care of my brothers. You know, I had to babysit them. I had to learn real quick how to clean a house, do laundry, all that stuff, you know, cook dinners, and it was no big deal because, you know, both of my parents were working and I loved doing it. At 17, I met David. We went to high school together, and he seemed like a really nice guy, and I didn't know that he was gaslighting me. He was prepping me for what he wanted me to be. You know, he always came over. He was always nice. He was always, you know, just being a gentleman. At 18, I lost my best friend in a car accident. And that week, me and my dad got into a fight. And I moved out and moved in with David. Because I thought that, because I was tired of the fighting. I was tired of being accused of things that I didn't do. I mean, it was so stupid. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? My dad and I got into an argument over, I had asked him if I could hang out with my boyfriend, which was David at the time, during that weekend. And my dad said no. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever, you know. Well, I sat down and I started watching a Hallmark video, and there was a movie, and it was sad, and I started crying. Well, my dad automatically assumed that I was pissed off and mad and crying because I couldn't spend time with my boyfriend at the time. And I tried to tell him that that wasn't the case. And so we got into a fight. My mom was at work, and I called David. I said, enough is enough. I'm done. And, you know, being a teenager, I didn't know any better. But at the time, I thought I knew what I was doing. And I moved out. Moved in with David and his family. And that's when it really started escalating. He was cool for the first month. But at that time, I wasn't talking to my dad, but my mom I was talking to. My mom's always been a great person. You know, she's always been there for me. And her and I bump heads, but that's what mom and daughters do, you know. And she didn't understand what had happened, and she was mad at my dad. And I look back on it and I'm like, there was so much going on that week. The day I moved out of my parents' house, I was grieving my best friend. That was the day of his funeral. I couldn't take myself, like, I couldn't handle his passing. I couldn't handle, because he had just been there that weekend before he passed. My dad was on the call when he went to the car accident, and that was when my best friend passed. It was a Tuesday. So they buried him on a Friday. I moved out. So I had that going on in my head. I was all messed up from that. It took 4 years for me to even go to my best friend's grave after he passed. It took a long time. And even then, I couldn't stay. It was too hard. So I had that going on, and then the fight with my dad, and just so tired of everything that I just wasn't thinking clearly, and I moved out. And the first incident that I remember with David was we were walking down into the basement to move some stuff, and he had said something really rude, and I jokingly said, "Bite me." He grabbed my arm and bit me, and it wasn't jokingly. He literally broke the skin. I bruised all the way around, because he bit me here. I bruised all the way around. I still have, it feels like I still have his teeth marks in my bone. That's how bad he bit me. Well, his mom was a nurse, and she took care of me and told me her words of advice was, don't piss him off. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, I was just joking. And she's like, well, I guess you learned your lesson now, didn't you? She was very rude. And I don't care if they see this video or not. They know what they did. They know what they did was wrong. And I don't give two shits anymore when it comes to this. It's got to be told. It's got to be, like I said, I'm not going to tell everything, but it needs to be told. After I healed up from that, and let's see, Thanksgiving came around. Now, his brother was a cop, and he wasn't a cop in our town. He was a cop a couple towns over. And everybody was at their house for Thanksgiving. Well, next thing you know, there's a huge fight between David and his brother. And they were fighting. His mom had spent all day the night before and all day cooking Thanksgiving dinner. And they got into a fight. And one thing led to another, and they were slamming. One of them got slammed into the kitchen table where all the food was, and everything was destroyed. I mean, dishes were broke, and it was like a movie. I felt like I was watching a movie. And his brother left. His brother and his wife left. And I was standing there like, oh boy. And so his mom was cleaning up, and she was mad too, because the whole thing happened. And I started to help her clean up and stuff like that. I tried to do what I could to be helpful there. They were letting me stay there and stuff like that before. And So I wanted to be helpful. Well, that wasn't good enough. So I was like, okay. So at this point, David and I had gotten an apartment. It was my senior year in high school. Me and David had gotten an apartment. We just got the apartment. And so it was it was wild. So at this point, I thought, okay, well, we're gonna go back. Hello, Tim. Welcome, welcome. And okay, so let me stop for just a second. Just so everybody knows, I'm not. I'm no longer a victim of domestic abuse. I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. Does it still bother me? Hell yeah. Do I still suffer? Yeah. But I survived. And I'm sharing with you guys some of the things that I went through during this time. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I just hope that this will reach somebody who may be going through this and they realize, oh, hey, she survived. I can too. Because a lot of times when you're in this situation, you don't feel like you have a place to turn to. And so a lot of times people don't leave. And so I want people to know that there is a way out. There really is. But anyway, so got back to the apartment, and after all this whole ordeal on Thanksgiving, and because he was mad at his brother, that was the first time he punched me in the face. I ended up with a black eye. It was my senior year, so I was like, crap, what do I do? So I got really good at covering up black eyes. Granted, I didn't have a whole lot of them. Most of the beatings were to the back of my head or places that I could cover with clothes. And his reason for doing that, and he told me his reason for doing that, was so that people didn't know that I kept screwing up. He didn't want people to know that I was a screw up. So I was like, okay. Exactly, Tim. Exactly. That's correct. Talking helps a lot of folks work through things, and that's the thing. There is so much that I went through that there's a lot of things that I don't even think Tommy knows. I've told him what I could remember. I've told him because every day, well, I shouldn't say every day, every month, something new that I didn't remember before pops it into my head. And then it triggers my anxiety. It triggers my PTSD. And I try to work through it myself. So some things, especially things that were really bad, I won't talk about. It's something that I have to process in my own head and work out my own self. But it's a struggle. And I know Tommy gets frustrated, but let me tell you, Tommy has been one of the biggest reasons why I am as far with all of this as I am. I don't know if he's watching. I don't know if he'll rewatch this, but he is one of the biggest reasons that I am as far as I am today. We've been together for about 8 years, or going on 8 years, and I truly believe God sent him to me at the right time. I really do. But anyway, so I'm going to jump forward a little bit. I was telling Mel a little bit about this yesterday when we were talking. And it was really nice to talk with Mel because I didn't feel like I was being judged. And the conversation, I don't remember how the conversation started, honestly, but it helped. It helped me a lot. And if you guys don't know who Castlevania Reseller is, her name is Mel, and she is badass awesome. I love that girl. She is so awesome. But anyway, we were talking, and I don't remember how this got brought up, but I remember telling her about, so I've always been bigger as an adult, weight-wise. Hey, girl, there she is. There's my girl, Mel. Hey, Mel, thank you for being here, dear. If I missed you in chat, please say, hey, you missed me. You missed me. I want to make sure that I welcome everybody. It's just who I am. There she is. If you guys are not subscribed to her, please do so. She is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But anyway, I was telling her about how I had lost some weight. I had lost a lot of weight, and I was so happy. And I had bought this white outfit. It was I don't know what the style is called, but it was a shorts and top that were one piece. I can't remember what it's like a jumpsuit, but not a jumpsuit. And so I was so excited, and it was white, and I thought I looked great. Well, now at this point, this was a couple years into the marriage. I ended up having to get married. And in my eyes, looking back now, I was forced to get married because he threatened my family. And because of the things that he was doing to me, I was afraid that he was going to hurt my family. Now, I grew up with guns. I grew up with, and I don't care, it's usually not a word I use, but usually I use pew pew or something like that. But I grew up with guns. My dad had them. We grew up shooting them, so I knew my dad had them. So I knew, like, somewhere in my brain, I knew that my dad would be able to protect them. But because of all the crazy crap that I was going through and the brainwashing and the fear that I had, I was terrified that he was going to kill my family. I was terrified. My youngest brother, Michael, was young. He is 8 years younger than me. And then there's my brother, Rusty, who I grew up with, and he is 22 months younger than me. And, my brother Rusty was in the military, and, my brother Michael's on the fire department now. But I was so scared that their lives are going to be taken away. And so when he said, we're getting married, and if you don't, I'm going to kill your family, I was like, okay, and by this time I was so messed up in the head from everything that I didn't want my family to be hurt like I was being hurt. I don't know what that was. I had gone through so much at this point that I didn't know which way was up. And so we got married, went down by my grandpa, which my grandpa had no idea. David, actually, while we were down there, he spent a lot of time with a cousin of mine. And so I was like, okay, I wanted to see my grandpa. My grandpa was my world. I love my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. I love my mom, but my grandpa Baker, man, he was my world. I loved him so much. He helped raise me and my brother for a couple years when I was little. So I remember, like, all the good things about him and stuff like that. So we went down there, and I got to ride on my grandpa's motorcycle. Like that was one of my favorite memories with my grandpa, is riding the motorcycle with him, his Goldwing. But anyway, we went over to one of my cousin's house, and he rode with another cousin of mine. Now, I know now differently, but then I had no idea. Yes, Tim, grandpas are very much awesome. I love my grandpa. He passed away the day before my son's 3rd birthday. So he never got to meet my kids, but I know he's around. And anytime I hear a wind chime, I think of him, because the night that he passed away, it was really hard. And I stepped out on the porch, and I know it's a squirrel moment, so I do apologize. But I stepped out on the back porch, and I had some wind chimes, and there was no wind anywhere. But all my wind chimes started going, and there was no wind. And that was my confirmation that he was with me and that he loved me. And it was just, hey, Robbie, welcome. Happy weekend to you too. So it was my confirmation that he would always be with me. So anytime I hear wind chime, I think of my grandfather. But my grandfather had a lot of P.P.S.P too. He had a lot of guns. He was a gun collector. And so my grandfather's house is haunted. Okay. And I grew up with the cowboy man. And so it was no big deal to me. But I should, looking back on everything, I'm like, oh, there was red flags everywhere, and I didn't realize it. But once you're out of the situation, you think back on it and you realize there was a whole lot of stuff that you missed. But because of everything that was going on with the brainwashing, gaslighting, all that, you don't see that. And so anyway, we were married, we were down there. And so anyway, I'm getting, my brain is starting to, so give me a second just to, okay, so he spent a lot of time with my cousin. They were gone. So my grandpa took me to my one cousin's house that I hadn't seen forever. And him and my other cousin were gone for like 3 hours. I don't know what they were doing. At that point, I was just very confused. And so I was like, okay, so I was spending time with my cousin, which was no big deal. One of my other cousins. And they pulled up. Well, we got back to my grandpa's house after spending time there. And then we went back to my grandpa's house and we laid down for the night. And the cowboy man appeared in the doorway, mean mugging David. I was like, it was like he knew who I was. He smiled at me, but he looked at David and he mean mugged him. And I was like, oh boy, I don't know what that is going on, but it was crazy. And then I just said, hello, cowboy man. And he smiled and turned around and disappeared. But I could still hear his boots on the terrazzo floor, his cowboy boots on the terrazzo floor. And so I was like, okay. So I went to sleep. It was no big deal for me with the cowboy band. But when David saw him and he made himself known to David, that was funny. Now, then I was like, oh, he's harmless, And so anyway, we left. We came back. And hi, Myra. Welcome. So we came back to Wisconsin because I was born and raised until I was like 11 in Florida. I was born in West Palm Beach and moved around a couple times down there. Lived with my grandfather in Orlando. My grandfather actually helped build Disney World in Orlando, Kissimmee. And so Okay. Yeah. My grandfather passed away. Let me see. 2009, March 8th of 2009. My son was born March 9th, 2006, and it was 1 day shy of my son turning 3 when my grandfather passed away. My gramps has been gone since '09. He helped raise me. He is my hero. I was his shadow as a kid. Yeah, me and my brother were too at my grandpa when we lived with him, and even though we moved up here, I always talked to him. I at least made one call a month. Once I was out of this situation with my ex-husband, I actually would call him every month. My landlord, the house that I lived in when I finally was able to leave and go to a domestic abuse center, she let me use her phone, and I called my grandpa. Now, my grandpa was old-fashioned. I told him what was going on, and his words were, I knew I didn't like that SOB, but he actually used the words. He's like, I didn't trust him. He's like, and he seemed shady. He's like, me and your cousin are on our way up. And I'm like, Grandpa, please don't. How did Cowboy Man get David out of your life? I don't know, because I don't think he really had anything to do with getting him out of my life. My grandfather, however, him and my cousin were actually going to drive up here and deal with David once he found out what was going on. My landlord, who was also a friend of mine, we became really good friends. She witnessed some things, and she would call, and because I was so scared of what would happen if the cops got there, I begged her not to call the cops anymore, because first time they came, hello Dwayne, hello, good morning. It was, you get stuck to a point where you don't want any more than what you're already getting, so you try everything in your power not to do anything that would upset that. You really don't. And so I begged her not to call the cops, but then she's like, well, you need to call somebody because you need to get out of the situation. And she did help me. She helped me a lot, and I love her for that, and I still talk to her here and there. She messages and asks how I'm doing. Thank you, Robbie. And I've told her about David, and how, he's gone. He's gone. I told her about a friend of mine who, this is probably going to sound really weird, but a friend of mine, she played, what is that, the devil's advocate after I left, because she was so worried about me that she kept in contact with David to make sure that he wasn't coming near me. She would get any tidbit information she could from him. Her and I talked, and she's like, I had to put a restraining order on him as well. That's another thing that I had to do. And let me tell you that David walked through it so many times, and the cops didn't do anything. Anyway, she, getting my brain all mixed up here. So my friend, she, and I'm trying not to use names of certain people because I don't know how they feel about me giving this information out, their name-wise, but also to protect him in case David does watch and his family ends up finding this or something. I don't want them to feel the repercussions, if that makes any sense to you guys. But she played, what was that, devil's advocate. She pretended that her and I were no longer friends, and that so she kind of talked a little crap about me, but her and I talked about it beforehand. That way she could monitor, and anytime he would find me, she would immediately call me and say, hey, you need to move. You need to go. You need to go. He found you. 4 years I went through that. 4 years I went through that. And so let me tell you, she saved my life so many times. And she is my best friend. When you're in a domestic abuse relationship, and I've learned this now more than anything, is they lie. Boy, do they lie. He told me, so go back after we had gotten married, and we came back to Wisconsin, he had told me that he had slept with my cousin and that she was so much better than I was. And I was hurt. I believed him because he was so convincing. So, yeah, I have a humidifier over here, or air purifier thing going on. Oh no, that's the window open. I thought maybe you were talking about the thing, but no, that window's open, so it's gonna look all creepy because the curtain moves and stuff like that. And like I said, I believed him. I thought he had slept with my cousin, and I was so hurt that somebody in my family would do that to me. But then I wasn't allowed to think. I wasn't allowed to, like, if you would have seen me back then, I wasn't allowed to talk unless spoken to. There was a gun that was pointed at my head. Yeah, the curtains are moving. Yeah, that's because the window's open. So, hi, Mary. Welcome. I had a gun pointed at my head, and he pulled the trigger, and it didn't go. It like jammed or something. It was really weird because I talked to Tommy about this. Tommy knows about this situation, and I'm pretty scared of handguns because of it now, and I'm working on not being scared of them anymore. But sorry. So I'm getting there. It's progress. 2003 is when I was finally able to get away. Went into hiding for 4 years. Moved so many times in that 4 years. It was sickening. But he filed for divorce after I left. I had a lawyer. The domestic abuse center helped me get a lawyer, so I didn't have to be in the courtroom when he was in the courtroom for the divorce. These places, these domestic abuse center places, are so helpful. They were there for me and for the other. Yeah, Tina. Hello, Tina. Oh, yep. Gabby's probably sitting in there. I don't know if she left or not. I wasn't really paying attention. But they are very helpful. And just so you guys know, this is another thing that Mel and I talked about. I have to kind of get off the subject from me for a moment of what I went through. It's starting to kind of mess with me a little bit. I'm still a survivor. I'm not a victim, but I still have issues at times with talking about it. So, but these centers, they do a lot for women who have been abused. But then there's another side of domestic abuse that people don't talk about. It's very, very, very taboo. It's men who go through domestic abuse. There are more men out there that get, that are in a domestic abuse situation. And because men are raised to, oh, you're the tough one, you're the one that is the strongest of the sex and whatever, people forget that men go through domestic abuse as well. Now, there are not as many centers for men who are going through domestic abuse to go to for help. And I think that should change. I strongly believe that should change. Some centers or some domestic abuse centers do offer an area for men who go through it and leave. Because let me tell you, I've seen some crazy stuff lately. Oh, Dwayne, you'd probably hurt my arm. I tried arm wrestling Tommy. That doesn't work. But thank you for the laugh. That was good. That was good. I've seen, when I was in the domestic abuse center, I've seen some crazy crap, and I thought that what I went through was horrible. And it was very horrible. Let me tell you, it was very horrible. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. But that made me lose my train of thought. Holy cow. Which isn't really hard. But let's see, what was I saying? Crap. Oh, men in domestic abuse centers. Oh, okay. Yep. I'm just waiting for what you said, Tina, to pop up on StreamYard so I can highlight that. Men go through it, and domestic abuse just as much as women. And there should be safe places for them. Thank you, Willow. Thank you. Tina says, there's an old ER movie out there, What Men Don't Tell. Good movie about a man who was abused by his wife. Yes, and well, thank you. Mary says, we are so blessed to have you here with us, Destiny. That's because so much more that becomes so much more apparent as we hear about your past. You help so many of us come to terms with our mental states. Well, thank you. I used to be, my personality, I've had so many different personalities, and I don't mean split personalities or anything like that. I mean, like when I was younger, I was a very happy-go-lucky person. I was on cheerleading. I loved people. I thought people were amazing. And then I went through the domestic abuse. I became very quiet. I became very obedient. And I was definitely not somebody who I am today. Hi, James.
Hi, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad. I just saw you were live. I just turned on the computer and I saw you weren't smiling. And I hopped on here and now I'm glad to see you smiling. That's much better.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you. Yep, we're talking.
I gotta turn this. So scanner. I had the scanner on. Sorry. I'm back.
Thank you, Dwayne, again. We're talking about domestic abuse. I'm giving a little bit of a story, or sharing with people things I've been through. And we're talking about male domestic abuse at the moment. I really think that, if there is somebody out there who is male, who has been through it, I hope they share their story, because it will help other men see that they're not alone. I'm a woman. I went through it. It's more known, more looked at when it comes to a woman being domestically abused. But men, they kind of get thrown, shut out. They get pushed to the corner, like, oh, they get laughed at. They get picked on. They get, all these different things. And then
It's a double standard. Yeah.
Oh, we are having trolls like crazy today. I think it's the topic.
Who's the troll? I don't see him on my
Yeah,
end.
there was a couple of different trolls already. Dwayne's got it. Thank you, Dwayne. So I mean, it's such a
There is
situation.
a double standard where men are treated differently if they are the victim. But the other thing is, it's the abuse is comes in many forms. It's also mental abuse.
Mental, sexual, physical, and emotional.
I mean, and in different types of relationships. I'm dealing with my own situation with my beautiful daughter there in the picture. That's me, my daughter. But it's a very difficult situation to where I don't know if we'll have the father-daughter relationship that I would hope for. And I've come to that understanding, and I just say thank God for granddaughters. She loves me unconditionally, and vice versa. So yeah, she's my thing.
Right, exactly.
But there's abuse that can happen, and we've been stigmatized and socially behaviors and upbringing as show men don't cry and you don't be abused. So and
exactly.
You don't have to deal with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And they are, men, they're human, so hi Glenn. So, men should be treated just as a woman as if they're domestically, in a domestic abuse situation. There should be places for them to go. There should be a safe place for them to open up and not feel the judgment that comes with admitting that they are in an abusive relationship. It shouldn't happen. Hi, Lisa C. Welcome, dear. It shouldn't happen.
Correct. And judgment, that only God sits that high. And I cannot judge another person just because they sin differently than me. And I would not want to be treated if I was abused, and who knows, I probably was mentally abused, but I would hope that I would not be stigmatized,
Right.
and have people have compassion and understanding. And there are people out there that will not have that. And I saw Chainsaw made a comment in regards to, until men start caring about women, I'm out. And I said, well, there are a lot of men that don't treat properly, and there's a lot of women that don't treat men properly. You just can't throw them all in together.
So my Aunt Kelly says that, and I did see this comment earlier, and I apologize, Aunt Kelly. I ended up accidentally skipping over it, but she says, Destiny, I stayed for 5 years. As a nurse, I was ashamed to tell anyone. Not everyone abuse is the same. Exactly. Yeah. I worked in the medical field during the time that I was being abused, and when you're being abused, you don't tell my family had no idea what was going on. I wasn't allowed to have a phone. I was only allowed to go here and there when I was told to. I was to go straight to work. I had 4 jobs at one time. And they were home care, they were nursing home. It was a Burger King and a Walmart. Okay. And how I fit all that into my life, I have no idea. But it was better than staying home and getting the shit beat out of me, you know? And so, anyway, as you know, being a nurse, being in whatever profession there is, you know, when it happens, you're embarrassed. You're like, well, what did I do? You know, why I should know better than this. But when you're constantly conditioned to believe the crap that comes out of your abuser's mouth, you don't think about it until way later. Way later.
Right.
You know, and I try not to get angry. I try to forgive. And I'm still working on the forgiveness part. Each time I try to work through one specific thing that I went through, you know, I try to forgive David for what he did. I will never, ever, ever forget what he did to me. But I have to learn to forgive what he did to me. And they are 2 totally different things.
Mother's Products just posted that gaslighting is
yes. And I do have a video on gaslighting, you know, like something, or the signs of it and stuff like that. I did do a video. I think it was back in January when I first started doing these lives. It is the first step in the abuse. You know, it really is. And
it's unfortunate. My daughter does that to me, and it's just, and in private messages too. And I'm thinking to myself, and I can't argue with her, you know, she's my, but she gaslights me, and I'm thinking to myself, you do know what you're saying is absolutely untrue. Don't throw this on me. This is on you.
Yeah, and you know, I was told at one point in time that by David's mom, who was a nurse, because 90% of the time that I was supposed to go to the hospital, he would take me to her. He would take me to her. She would bandage me up. She would do whatever she needed to do. And then she would look me in the eyes and say, well, if you were a better wife, this wouldn't have happened. This is God's way of telling you you don't deserve to be a mother.
50s mentality.
And I'm like, I just kind of like started closing myself off. And those are just a couple things that she would say to me, you know. And then later found out that her husband drank and she was abusive to him. So I know where he got it from. Yep, I'm telling all your dirty secrets. I hope you see this. No, not really, but I don't need the crap. But, you know, and I get angry thinking back on
a lot of it, you know, the best, it's hard to do, but you have to look inside yourself and tell yourself, you know, you have to respect yourself enough to be able to walk away. And that's
and it's hard. Hello, Fishing and Picking. Let me welcome a couple people real quick. Hello, Fishing and Picking. Crystal, welcome. And hello, Mel.
Hey.
Hey, Mel, how you doing?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good.
Destiny, I just wanted to tell you everything that you did share with me. You're a very strong woman, and you went right through it. And I don't even know. I don't know how you did it, but you got it, and you are a survivor.
I am. And anybody who has ever been able to get out of a domestic abuse situation, be male or female, always keep telling yourself you are a survivor because you're able to get away. You may have to deal with a lot of years of crap, but you survived, you're still breathing, and you are here. And you're here for a reason. So,
Exactly.
nice save. Wait, what? What, Dwayne? What? That's. Oh, hold on. I missed something in chat. My grandmother would beat fishing and picking. My grandmother would beat my grandpa with a rolling pin or cast iron pan every Sunday after church for fraternizing with the church ladies. My wife tells me she'll
Laura Bobbitt.
if I look at ladies.
Lorena Bobbitt, do you?
I know who that is.
And what she did? Yeah, she'll do that to him if he keeps looking at those church ladies. Dag nabbit.
Oh wow, fishing and picking, run, run.
Well, that was Grandpa. Yeah, my Grandpa.
Okay, I know Aunt Kelly. I remember I just watched a documentary like 2 months ago about that situation. Holy crap, that poor man. And that is also a form of domestic abuse.
That's control.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's female to male or male to female. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Can't we all just get along?
right. Exactly. Dwayne says, plus you are strong enough to work through it and share with us. Let me tell you, it is one hell of a ride in my head. I struggle so hard and fight so hard when it comes to trying to work through it. And Tommy came home the other night. I don't know what brought it up, but he was like, "Oh, you look mad. What happened?" And I'm like, "I'm not mad." And he's like, "Oh, yes, you are." But I don't even know why I look that way. I don't know I don't remember what was going on in my head, and he walked away, let me do what I needed to do. I think I was frustrated because when I was cooking and the grill was being a brat, and so I was getting stressed out from that. But at the same time, let me tell you, I had to have dinner on the table for my ex-husband at 5 o'clock sharp because that's when he walked in. He wanted it hot, he wanted it on the table. And if it was burnt, let me tell you, it hurt. I literally had to eat a...
It's okay, Dash. It's okay.
For a long time, I was not allowed to sit at the dining room table to eat with him. I had to eat my food out of a bowl on the floor like a dog. I hated food. I hated food with a passion. I still have an issue with chicken because that's what he wanted. He always wanted chicken. It had to be different every single night. If I didn't eat it the same way more than once, who did I hear about it? My mom sits here and talks. Hi, Gary. Welcome. She talks about how she would come to my house one time and it was a mess. Well, what she doesn't realize is that my house was clean. He came home. He had an attitude for somebody at work, some bimbo that turned him down. He came home and he destroyed the house, beat the crap out of me, and I was expected to clean it. But my mom showed up. And again, this is where my parents still had no idea what was going on because he did it to where nobody could see the markings. I have migraines, and I'm sure that all has to do with what happened with me in the past. And I have scars from knives. I have scars from his rings. Can't see him much anymore. But let me tell you, I know where every single scar is, and I know how I got it. So with my whole spleen thing, seeing that, and that messing with my head mentally, it just brings up a lot of crap, you know? So my scars suck, you know? And yes, I know I survived. I'm a survivor, and I tell myself this every single day. Still looking at them sucks, you know? And I hope one day, I actually have hope that one day I will look at my scars and say, you know what? You did it. You survived. And that's okay. And I love that I can have that hope that I know one day that I'll be like, got this. I did it.
Well, I pray one day that you see the scars and not think that you just survived, but that you became a better person because of it.
You know,
and turn it into a positive thing.
Hi, Griffin. No, I'm not sure.
Hey, Gary, by the way. Hi, Gary. Hi, Griffin. Everyone's classic.
My Aunt Kelly says, they are not scars. They are beauty marks. Everything that you have been through, it is a story of your life. And it is. And like I was saying before, you know, my personality, see, Tommy screwed up when we got together because I was quiet, and he was like, just be you, talk. Just, he gave me the go ahead to be a big mouth. And every year I get more and more confident because Tommy has encouraged me to stand up for myself and have a backbone and speak my mind. I think he gets annoyed sometimes because I speak it way too much, but I'm able to now be able to speak more about things than I ever was before. You know, like I said before, you know, I was in cheerleading. I loved people. I knew everybody in my high school, first name, last name. I knew what grade they were in. I knew all this stuff about every single person in my school. Yes, I was bullied in high school. I was beat up by the bad girls in school. But I didn't let it
define me.
Yeah, it didn't define me. I still would walk by and say hello, which it was probably not the smartest thing for me to do, but I didn't care at that point. And I knew that they had things going on in their life. So I knew that, you know, it was just their way of venting. So I kind of just like, you know, whatever. But I always tried to give an encouraging smile. Everybody, it didn't matter if they were the most popular kid in school or the nerdy kid in school that nobody ever talked to. I always made sure to tell everybody hi and to have a good day.
Right.
That part of me is coming back, and I love that. You know, I love the fact that I'm starting to go back to where I was before the domestic abuse. Because I loved people. I'm terrified of people now, but I still want people to smile. I still want to give them a positive outlook on things. And so, that part of me is coming back. So Oh, Mel, do you have your YouTube open or I'm not? Oh, I know her phone likes to be silly sometimes.
Yes,
Why?
it sounds like a max headroom.
Why?
Because you got a lot of feedback coming, dear.
I have my phone on. I don't have no YouTube.
Okay.
It's loading. So put her in the back room and then put her back in.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second, Mel. I promise I'm not kicking you out.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
But yeah, just only the back room and then bring it back in. Sometimes it'll load.
Okay. Yep. I brought her back in.
What is it doing?
Perfect. Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, your you had feedback.
Yeah, I'm not on YouTube at all. I'm working on a video.
Yeah, sometimes when you jump into StreamYard, the video does not sync up with the audio, and so it sends 2 audio streams through, and it hiccups.
Yeah, I'm on my phone for this live, but I'm on my computer, but the sound's off.
Yeah, it sounds fine now. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna look through chat really, really quick. Dwayne's like, not to mention the mental scars you deal with. Yeah, and anybody who has been through it and has gotten away, because there are cases where people have not been able to get away and they're not with us anymore. And I pray for those people. Even though they're not with us anymore, I still pray for them. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I pray for people who are in situations like I was in. Tommy, like I said, Tommy has been one of the best things best person I've ever had in my life.
And if you didn't go what you went through, you would not have met Tommy and be where you're
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was in a really dark place when Tommy and I met. I mean, it was like God knew I needed somebody who was light, who knew how to deal with people, who could read facial expressions without judgment. It's all this stuff. And he drives me nuts a lot of times. But I wouldn't have it any other way. He can be a real jerk sometimes. But
men are.
Tommy is, and I accept him for everything that he is. And let me tell you, he does get me mad. But in the same breath, I make him mad too. It's a two-way street, It really is a two-way street.
Also look at it this way, all the stuff that you went through, that was a preparation for you to get to Tommy, so you could deal with each other.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Oh, that was her feedback.
Oh. Them crickets are messing with me. It's like, choop, choop. I'm like,
I will be right back.
Okay, we'll hold the fort down for you.
Yeah,
it's up
we literally spoke for like 3 hours yesterday, and there's stuff that people don't know about me, and I just came out of the same situation, but it was female on female, but anybody can seriously be put in that position. And it's sad. We were talking the other day about it, that there's women shelters for domestic abuse, but they tend to separate the men and the women, and it's very hard to find a man shelter for domestic abuse. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yep.
So that's something that definitely needs to change.
Mental health in general in this country, they need more facilities and help.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, it's just we don't look at mental illness as an illness. We look at it as defective.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not right.
So. And see, the thing with mental illness also, it's like they want to feed you, in my opinion, they just want to feed you a pill. Do you get what I'm saying? They want to continuously feed you a pill to say, oh, this pill is going to make you feel better, and then essentially it can mess you up worse. You know, we were
Well,
talking about that the other day.
you know, in regards to my situation with my daughter, there's obviously something that's happened in her past, and I've offered to pay for therapy and counseling, and unfortunately, she refuses.
Your daughter has
Yeah.
been, you believe, has been in that situation?
It's been in something's happened.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean,
Things need to change.
I barely met her 2 years ago. You know, she'll be 30 this year. So I was not a part of her life in the beginning, and I've talked to mom, and yeah, she thinks there's something else to it. So, but until she admits that there's a problem and gets help, she won't get help, because if she goes to get help, that's admitting there's a problem.
No, I want to apologize.
She's stubborn as me.
I do want to apologize to everybody. That was Tommy that called. He called panicking, and so that's why I had to step away.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. A friend of ours drove by, and they saw the cops in front of our house, and so he was panicking, thinking something happened. And no,
That situation again?
What's that?
It's that situation again?
No. I don't know. He must have just pulled over or something to check something, but that's step away. I'm like, what is going on? And no, there's nobody there. There's nobody. But he just wanted to make me panicking because he didn't know what was going on. So it's coming from my end. Okay, let me remove myself and come back in.
Try this, Mel. Mute yourself real quick.
Okay, hold on.
Let's try. Talk to us. Test.
Test.
No, it's coming from Mills.
All right, Mel.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
not try it. Test.
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 It's gone. It's
complete.
I wonder if it was okay. So I just turned my sound down on my speaker. I wonder if it was that. So I do apologize. I didn't.
What is it doing?
It's like
it was like Max Headroom.
Yeah.
Echo, ghost echo in the back. But yeah, it's gone now completely. Yeah.
My phone does that sometimes. I have to call Destiny like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I apologize for that. Hello, Brittany. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I said it or not earlier. Welcomed you. So my aunt is messaging me. She wasn't kidding.
No, I'm calling now though.
She's yelling at me to stay off the phone when I'm live, but yet she's messaging me.
So, did you bring up earlier about the men's shelters that you were talking about?
Yeah, I sure did. I think I was saying, I think there should be more places for men to go that would be a safe place, because they have so many for women, and men do suffer as well. And there are some shelters, domestic abuse places, shelters, homes, that they have an area specifically for men who suffer, but not every place has that.
No, we don't.
I know when I was at one, it was a big help. I did stay to myself. I wanted to get out of there so badly because I was afraid that he was going to hurt the other women and children that were in the building with me. And they are secure places. I understand that, but you can read my Aunt Kelly is a sassy today. I love her. My Aunt Kelly is
must be the Irish side.
Well, yeah, probably. She's only like 8 years older than me, Aunt Kelly. You're only 8 years older than me. She changed my diaper when I was a baby. She took care of me when I was little. Yes, I'm not afraid to say that my Auntie Kelly changed my diaper. It's all good.
All right, Des. I'm going to jump out of here because now I can't hear y'all. I got a phone call and it messed my thing all up.
Okay.
But
sounds
you know,
good.
I'm here if you need me, girl.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mel. Much
All
love,
right.
my friend.
Later, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. So yeah, so if you feel or suspect that somebody that you care about is in this situation, try to pull them aside when you can and talk to them. And I remember the day that my dad found out that I was being abused. I left. Now, he used to disable my car. And he had picked me up by my throat up against the bedroom door, twisted my arm over my head like this, and was choking me. And he was yelling at me for something, and I don't even know what I did. It just was not, I didn't have to do anything for him to be set off. And that day, I don't know what he was angry about. I really don't. I think back and I'm like, I don't know what set him off. I never could tell what I did or what somebody else did to set him off. And he was yelling at me, and I passed out. I came to. My mom has pictures because they tried to get a hold of the cops, and the cops wouldn't do anything because it wasn't their jurisdiction. And don't get me wrong, I love cops. I have family who are cops. I have mad respect for cops. There are some cops that are not okay. But anyway, they couldn't do anything because it wasn't their area. And anyway, he forgot to disable my car. Thank God he forgot to disable my car. I got up, I grabbed the keys, jumped in the car, took off to my dad's. Now, I had a notebook that had on there, help me, written up. And anyway, took off on the highway. He must have heard me leave because next thing I know, he's chasing me down the highway at 100 miles an hour, trying to run me off the road. He was trying to kill me. I passed a squad, an unmarked squad. And the only reason why I knew it was a squad was because he had his uniform on. And I picked up that notebook and I went like this in the window. Help me. He took off. I'm like, well, this is going to end very badly. Turn off on a side road to get to my dad's house. And next thing I know, he's getting pulled over. David's getting pulled over. And I was so thankful. But I was shaking because I was like, oh crap, he's going to come at me even more. And took off. Got to my dad's house. And my parents were split up at this point. Got to, hi Rebecca, welcome dear. Got to my dad's house. And my dad looked at me. An instant pissed off, somebody hurt my daughter look was right there. He took my car, he hid it in his garage. Now my dad's garage had little windows in the door, or in the garage door. But he had them blacked out.
Okay.
So thank God for that. He parked my car in the garage. Now he was on the fire department at this time, So his truck, he always had a stall open because, well, one side was his work area and the other side was where he would park his truck if he wasn't going to go on any calls. And so he happened to have his truck out because he had just got back from a fire call. He had just got back from a fire call. And so my dad parked my truck or my car into the garage and had me hide. Because as soon as he got out of the garage from hiding my car, David pulled up. And my dad went over to his gun cabinet.
I'm listening. Continue. I'm listening.
My dad got his gun, went to his gun cabinet, pulled out his gun. David showed up at the door, asking where I was, that I had lost my mind. And he was concerned about me because I was being irrational and crazy. And that he was afraid I was going to hurt myself if I hadn't already. You know, that load of BS. And my dad pointed the gun at him and said, "What are you doing?"
Well, you coughed, and I didn't want to get infected.
It's from the coffee, silly. Anyway, my dad pointed the gun at him and said, "You have two options." He's like, "You can leave and leave my daughter alone. Or your second option is I'm going to blow your brains out all over the sidewalk." And I never felt more safe at that point than when my dad did that. And hi, Aunt Kelly.
I've told my I met one of my daughter's boyfriends, and I said, you do anything to harm my daughter or my granddaughter. I'm an old man, I'm crippled, I don't have much time, so I don't mind taking you out. So.
And that's what my dad said. That's what my dad did too. No, me, like I said, I had explained at the beginning how me and my dad had been fighting. I was mad at my dad. But I ran to him when I needed him. We were repairing our relationship. He raised me. He was my dad. And he pushed me. Like, my dad knew my triggers as a person, because when I moved out, he was like, "Oh, you're going to quit school. You're never going to graduate, da 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 da." And he kept saying that my whole senior year. And let me tell you what I did. Because of my dad, I will always be grateful, because he pushed me. I was at school from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I graduated on the damn honor roll.
To prove him wrong.
And let me tell you, I love my dad so much. I do. I love him. And he knows how to, I mean, he raised me. He knows me, but he knew what he had to do to keep me in school and to prove him wrong, So.
I love you, but you are getting so off track. Get back on your topic.
I am.
Squirrel.
Yes, squirrel moment. See, this is why I love my Aunt Kelly. She always kicks me in the ass.
Look, there's domestic violence, male, female, kids, adults, elderly. There's not enough to emphasize the concept of abuse.
Yeah.
There is totally so many different types, different ways. If you stop and think about any relationship you're in, it is a type of abuse. If there is not 50-50 all the way and compassion on both sides, then there's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you're going to kick me in the ass because I'm fixing to kick you in the teeth. You brought me in on a message with you and Tommy about mental abuse, and you were stressing, thinking that you were causing his stress.
Yeah,
Remember?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a type of abuse that you are doing to Tommy. Okay, he has to, like today, I'm proud of you. He's out doing his thing today by himself.
Oh, he does that a lot.
I know, but one day is not enough, Destiny.
No,
Come
he
on.
does that a lot. He goes fishing and does what he wants. I've
know,
never,
but
ever stopped him.
I know that. I'm not saying do. But as a wife and as your aunt, I can tell you, you're always back here because you're the wife. What are you doing? Why aren't you doing this? Come on, come on. We gotta go. We gotta do this. Come on. So it's a female trait. It's in all of us. But if they don't have time to themselves,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they start stressing about what their mate is going to think or how their mate is going to react, that is also a type of control.
But I've always let him do what he wanted to do. I've never stopped him. I'm
Honey,
uncomfortable with going
I
to
knew this was
Milwaukee.
going to make you think. That's why I said it was going to kick you in the teeth. It's going to make you think. In any relationship, there is a type of control in every direction. Okay?
Okay.
But on that same note, he's accepting it because he also gives it to you. So you do have that 50-50 situation. Right. Okay? Right. But it is still, that control factor is still there. And any abuse, there is always control. It's just, does one have more control than the other? That's the difference.
Yeah, I don't
see the difference in what I'm using
right.
that
Yeah,
as an example.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, didn't it? Make you think.
Right, and that's a good point. It's a very good point. You know, I've always let him do. I have expressed to him how Milwaukee makes me uncomfortable. But if that's where he chooses he wants to go hang out, there's nothing I can do about it. I will be uncomfortable with the situation, but there is a lot of things that people don't know that have happened in Milwaukee that
right. You're not. Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to reveal it because it's not my story to tell.
Right.
I've already talked about it, how it's affected me, but it's not when the right time is, and I think Tommy has talked about it as well in the past, but right. That's what makes me uncomfortable. There's things that have happened, people who have been taken away, that I don't want to experience that. And I
know, but it was that comment, those statements, that part of the conversation was for you to think amongst you and Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay. This was just something for you to think about, not for you to sit there and overthink, which you always do.
I get it from you, Aunt Kelly.
Yeah, I know you do. It's my day off, and look what I'm doing. I had to come and fuck with you a little bit. I see your friend backed away from the camera.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to get in the middle of a family squabble, especially in between two women.
No.
I may be dumb and I may be stupid, but I ain't both.
No, this is how I get her to think rationally.
Yeah.
I'm from a big family. I know. I stay happy.
See, I love my Aunt Kelly. Let me tell you, when Nana passed away, a situation happened, and my Aunt Kelly was there for me.
Yeah, your dad was there. Shit.
And I was told I needed to make a choice. And I told this person, I am not going to pick sides in my family. My family is my family. I love my family. And I'm not going to disown one or a few because you don't like them. You're going to have to make that decision.
That's a control issue.
Well, that's because I am who I am. I'm going to speak my mind. I went to college. I have a brain. Yes, I am female, but I will still put you in your damn place.
And we're going to have to talk about that situation a different time, Aunt Kelly. I think we're going to need to do a whole therapy session live on one of my Saturdays about that whole situation that happened.
Your dysfunctional family.
Yeah, my
Also
dysfunctional
a type of
family. But you know what? They're my dysfunctional family, and I love them.
Your monkeys, your circus.
Oh, amen.
A lot of them.
Amen.
You can pick your friends, you just can't pick your family.
And I
True.
honestly,
I pick mine. I deal with who I want to and kick the rest of them out of my life.
I feel family is important. And
Yes, it is.
after leaving that situation and hiding, I things are different. The way you look at what's that?
You have different views, and it made you think about why your mom disappeared the way she did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so much that you learn. And then when you
in a very short time.
What's that?
In a very short time.
Yeah, oh yeah. Willow says, every family is dysfunctional in some way or another. It's a natural state of things. Yes. And you know what? If it wasn't for all of my dysfunctional family, I wouldn't be who I am. So
that isn't that true? I would have liked to have kept carrying you around for a couple more years, You were a tiny thing back then.
You and great Uncle Joe, huh? It was you. Now, the pictures that I have, I was with you, Nana, Poppy, and Uncle Joe.
Corey.
And yes, and Corey. Corey, my cousin Corey,
was on my other hip most of the time.
Yeah. Me and my cousin Corey were inseparable. And to this day, I still have the locket that cousin Shelly made me with Corey's ashes, and I wear it. It is.
I have them in my car.
Yeah, and I still haven't gotten Nana's ashes.
I thought I sent them with your jacket.
Mm-mm. No.
Well, you're not getting mine, so you're just going to have to wait until I get into the box.
Okay.
I don't like playing with mine unless I have
Just
to.
saying, I need Nana's ashes too. I have Poppy's, I have Corey's, I have a necklace that I'm looking at online where I can add Poppy, Corey's, and Nana's ashes. It's like this little, it's like tubes, but it's in a design, and each tube will have their ashes, so I can carry those with me. I still remember my cousin Corey. I will always in my heart have him there. The day that he passed away, he came to me in my dreams. He was running. He was smiling. He was talking to me and told me everything was going to be okay. My cousin Corey. Now, I don't know exactly what he was diagnosed with. It's never crossed me to ask because he was my cousin and I loved him. But my cousin Corey was bedridden. He really didn't respond to anybody but me, Poppy, Nana. When we were around, he smiled, which they said he could never do. He watched us, and he knew who we were. He, even after almost 12 years or something like that, or maybe even less than that, of me not seeing him, when I saw him again, he knew exactly who I was. So nobody will ever convince me that my cousin didn't know what was going on around him.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to deal with something. So.
But again, we had a squirrel moment.
Get back onto your squirrely. Get off your squirrely concept.
Yes, we did have a squirrel moment, and I apologize.
So,
Go back to your domestic.
nice meeting you, Aunt Kelly. But I have to run.
All right, James. Thank you for stopping.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. So yeah, so I'm actually gonna end it. I actually am longer than what I originally wanted to do. Thank you, Aunt Kelly, for being here with me. Don't jump out until because I got to talk to you after the live. Again, if you have items in your home that you're just going to donate to the thrift store or you're going to throw away, but they're still in good shape and you just don't have a use for it, please find the nearest domestic abuse center and donate to them because they will absolutely appreciate it. And so with that, Willow's got all these squirrels and a smile. Yes, I do. I do apologize for going on squirrel moments. I'm really horrible with that. So I might have to have Aunt Kelly jump on with me more often to keep me in line. So, and then you guys will get to know Aunt Kelly and see how awesome she is and love her just as much as I do.
Just because I'm a bitch.
Oh, Aunt Kelly, Aunt Kelly, Aunt Kelly, you're so sassy. But that's okay. All right. Much love, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you next week at 11 a.m. Central Time on this channel. Tuesday, I have a live at 1 p.m. Central Time with my daughter. We are doing makeup. And if you haven't seen the one from last Tuesday, you might want to go check it out. I turned into a very interesting creature that she did.
I can't do during the week.
No, well, and that's okay. You can watch the replay, Aunt Kelly. It's let me tell you, it was fun, but I had to take most of it off because it was a Halloween makeup. And so, oh, hey, Glenn, I don't know if I can't remember if I said hi or not to you, Glenn, but thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. And again, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time will be on my channel, mother-daughter makeup time. And next Saturday, we will be here again at 11 a.m. Central Time. With that, much love. Have a good day.
Bye, all.
And Kelly, you got anything else you want to say?
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.